Welcome. I am Rabbi Joanna Samuels. I am very proud to be the CEO here at Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan. I am 5'4", have brown hair that's down to my shoulders, need a haircut, and I'm wearing blue eyeglasses. And I think that I am in the kindest and best room in New York City right now. It gives me great pride to commence the 15th annual ReelAbilities Film Festival, New York. A festival where we present award-winning films by and about people with disabilities, bringing the community together to explore, discuss, embrace, and celebrate the diversity of our shared human experience. The JCC could not be more proud to have been the home to this festival for the last 15 years. To experience its growth and evolution, creating a truly inclusive environment dedicated to celebrating the lives, stories, and artistic expressions of people with disabilities. Our goal is to make this our most accessible festival ever, both in person and in virtually, where so many people will be joining us over the next many days. This festival is for everyone. As a community center, we love experiencing not only how this festival brings the disability community together, but builds bridges between all of us. I extend my profound thanks to the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities and the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, who do the hard work to continue to prioritize accessibility and who champion inclusion in all ways. They have partnered this year not only on the festival, but on the Film Industry Summit that will be running on Monday and Tuesday. It is now my honor to welcome to the stage the Commissioner of the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities, Christina Curry, and the Commissioner of the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, Ann Del Castillo.
Wow, okay. Good evening to everyone. Wait, you're signing, so I'll stop, okay. Have to remember that. As Commissioner of New York City's office, Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities, it is my great pleasure to be here today with all of you. I really need to stop signing, I'm so sorry. Just a little bit nervous because when I know someone deaf is here, I just start signing. So, so thank you. So let's go back a little bit. So I'm happy to be here at the ReelAbilities Film Festival. The ReelAbilities Film Festival is a celebration of the power of cinema to tell the lives and stories of people with disabilities, of all disabilities. We are grateful to the organizers, the volunteers, and participants of ReelAbilities Film Festival for their commitment to making this city more inclusive and welcoming for all people of all disabilities. So, thank you, right? So we here at the NYC Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities, MOPD, are proud to support this incredible initiative, and on behalf of the mayors of the City of New York, we are presenting this citation. Thank you. Yes, please. We're presenting this citation to Isaac and to the ReelAbilities Film Festival. So thank you. It's It's a very long citation. We're not reading it right now, are we? Thank you. And now, Anne, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Curry. I practiced a sign, which I feel like I just want to do, if that's okay with you. If I remember it. Good evening. Right? Close. It's a little stuttering. And welcome. I should identify myself. I am 5'1", that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I have short black hair, and I'm wearing a green dress. I want to, first of all, just acknowledge and thank Joanna Samuels, who actually I have a history with. We worked together at the Educational Alliance many moons ago, and so it's such a treat to be here with her tonight. I also just want to, again, thank Commissioner Curry for joining us at the festival this evening, and just for our partnership and collaboration as we at the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment continue to work towards inclusivity and accessibility in the media and entertainment space. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge my former colleague, former Commissioner Calise, who is also here tonight. And I just want to congratulate Isaac Zablocki, the festival co-founder, Ravit Herjman, interim director of ReelAbilities. I also want to congratulate Tony Kutzer from CODA, who's with us tonight. And of course, the director of tonight's opening night film, Juan Felipe Zuleta, who will be premiering his film Unidentified Objects. And finally, congratulations to all of the filmmakers and talent who are here tonight, whether your films are on the screen or you're working on films and telling these really important stories about the community. Just a little bit about the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment. For those of you who might not be familiar with us, we work to support, promote, and grow New York City's creative sectors: film, television, theater, music, advertising, publishing, live performance, digital media, and video games. Together, these sectors represent close to $150 billion in economic activity, which is nearly 10% of New York City's economy, and 500,000 jobs. But more important, these sectors represent the heart of New York City. They define New York City as a global creative capital. They're why people want to live, visit, and work in New York City. And for our part, one of the primary drivers of our work is really to increase access and opportunity for New Yorkers so that our industry really reflects the true diversity of our city. This is particularly important to our mayor, who isn't shy about speaking about his own struggles with dyslexia. So this partnership with ReelAbilities is critical to our work and our efforts in this area. We are so proud to continue our long-standing partnership with the festival, which I think began 5 years ago, roughly. Yeah, I think it might have started with the 10th anniversary. And we're especially delighted that this year, on the occasion of their 15th anniversary, we are expanding, working with them to expand the Industry Accessibility Summit, as Joanna mentioned, beyond just discussions about film, but also to include discussions about live performing arts. Really supporting these conversations around disability among stakeholders, not just from film, but from Broadway, off-Broadway, dance, and theater companies, is really critical to ensuring that New York City's entertainment sectors are inclusive and accessible for all New Yorkers. And so we hope you can join. It's a free event happening on Monday and Tuesday next week. In closing, I just want to thank you again all for being here and enjoy tonight's program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you to the Mayor's Office and to our commissioners who are here tonight, and everything that they do, not just for being here, but really everything that they do to work really closely with this festival to make it as much as possible. Thank you to Joanna and the leadership at the JCC for making ReelAbilities its home for the last 15 years and fostering its mission. I'm Isaac Zablocki. I'm the co-founder and director of ReelAbilities. I'll describe myself insecurely as a very pale white man in a blue suit. I hope you can see me out there. I am proud to be a member of the neurodivergent community, something I would have never said out loud if it was not for ReelAbilities. We are honored to be a part of this revolution of disability depiction on the screen. And there is no greater symbol of that revolution than our opening night Spotlight Award honoree. You know him as the Academy Award winner of the Oscar winner Coda, or possibly as the man who signed the national anthem at the Super Bowl this year. Yeah, there's football fans here too. That's usually our audiences don't overlap like that. It is unbelievable. He is, Troy Kutzer has been at our festival a number of times. Last time he was here with Wild Prairie Rose. And before that, with his directorial debut, No Ordinary Hero, The Super Deafy Story. He's a legend of stage and screen, starred in the Tony Award-winning run of Big River on Broadway. And now we see him walking down the street. We couldn't get him here tonight because people are stopping him for autographs. And this is the most beautiful thing. No one deserves that more. Please welcome Troy Kutzer.
Wow. First of all, I just want to really thank Isaac and his fabulous team for making this a possibility. Congratulations on 15 years. It's quite a milestone. You should be proud. I feel very honored to accept this Spotlight Award. You know, every time I see disability, diversity, people in wheelchairs, wheelchair users, it reminds me of my dad. I feel like he's here because my dad also used a wheelchair. He was in a car accident. He was the best signer, but then he became paralyzed from the neck down. And that really taught me something about what it's like to be disabled. You know, sometimes I forget that I'm deaf. I forget that I have a disability. I feel like everybody else, right? And then my little brother, when he was 4, he happened to fall into a swimming pool, and he had brain damage as a result. And when I was 7, I had to figure out how to deal with that. And then I was deaf, which I saw him and what he had to go through and his travails. And then when I was 18, my dad was in his accident. And so both of them became disabled. And I never forget one evening, my dad asked me to come with him to visit my little brother in the hospital. And I said, sure, Dad. And I'm driving him, he's in the wheelchair in the back. We get to the hospital, we find my brother's room, and my dad's in the wheelchair seated there, and my brother's laying in the hospital with brain damage, but he's still breathing with the help of a machine. And I'm sitting there watching both of them. And I'll never forget that moment when my dad's hands were there and he reached out the best he could to try to touch his son's hand, who was my brother. And I saw this, but my brother wasn't able to do anything in response. And so I decided to grab my brother's hand and I grabbed my dad's hand and I linked them together so that they could touch one another. And with that connection, that moment really resonated with me because I knew that they both couldn't feel each other's hands touching, but I'm the one who felt it. And in that moment, it was so profound. And that really taught me how important it is that we value people, whoever they are. And that's what's so important about this ReelAbilities Film Festival. You're bringing together your shared stories. And that's really educational. It's quite unique. And I feel very proud to be here to accept this award. And I really hope that all of you share your stories. I'm deaf, and I've worked hard for, 54.75 years to get to this point as a young boy, dreaming and struggling. But there was nobody that was going to stop me. Nobody was going to take away my deafness. Nobody was, I'm not broken. The problem out there is their perspectives, right? If we see ourselves as being disabled, but we get ahead despite perceptions. And the best way to do that is media representation. That's the best message we can share. When I got to the Hollywood Award, I was able to educate people about the diversity in the disability community in its fullness as much as I could. And when I got that award, I said, this award goes to the deaf community, it goes to the CODA community, and it absolutely goes to the disability community. This is our moment. And again, I'm really looking forward to your stories because everyone has their story to share. Am I right? We don't just need these big corporations and these A-list actors with the big budgets. Disability is unique and rich. It's so much richer than what can be spent. And I just want to say thank you once again for having me. Thank you, the support from this festival to really make this happen. Again, I feel so honored to be here. And I just want to say thank you. And before I close, I'm 6'1", my visual description. I have a hat, I have curly hair, I have a vest on, and I don't speak, but we have an interpreter here. He's from Pennsylvania, for those of you that are blind. I've learned to reach out to everyone to give equal access. Thanks so much for accepting me as part of this. Enjoy your night. I love you. Thanks, everyone.
It's not an Oscar, but hopefully he'll put it up there somewhere. I know. Right next to the Oscar. As I mentioned, Troy's lifetime of work, and especially the recent recognition through CODA, is paving the way for a generation of filmmakers to make more inclusive films. The amazing films you're going to see this week are the product of this movement that's been going on here from beyond 15 years that we've been here. After 15 years, it's amazing to see how far we've come, but how far our community still needs to go. And I want to acknowledge the lifetime work of many of you that are out there and that are here with us tonight who have made this all possible. I want to give a big shout out to one of the pioneers, Lorene Arbus. Are you still here, Lorene? Lorene's up there. Instrumental in moving the needle for disability and inclusion in film. But our work is not done, and this is really the moment to create that change. And if there's someone else who inspires me, it's Judy Heumann, who passed away earlier this year. We will be honoring her on Friday night, and please join us for that. She taught us that it's not enough to win the case, and to get the Americans with Disabilities Act, we need to change the culture. And what better way than through film, right? Let this not just be a little blip on the screen of inclusion, but rather a social shift. ReelAbilities is dedicated to continue to create change and inclusion, not just in our community, but across the country and around the world. We want to thank all of the amazing filmmakers. Many of them are here with us tonight who are joining us all week. They've come from near and far and allow us to take a deeper look at their work and the messages behind their films. We have a little partner slide now, I believe. I want to give a big thanks to my partner in crime. Where's Anita Altman? I saw her before. Anita Altman, co-founder of the festival. And she brought this notion of partnership. These are our sponsors up there. She brought up this notion of partnership to the festival with amazing work, all these partners who are doing amazing work on the ground. So please check out all of our partners. I want to give a very heartfelt thank you to our Advisory Council Chair, Jordana Manzano. who not only brings herself every year to the festival, but brings her whole family to work with us. And I want to give a big thank you to all of our chairs of past who have brought us to this moment. Tonight, we are proud to present this year's co-chairs, Stephen and Sharon Bunkin, who are here with us. They've been supporters of ReelAbilities for a few years now and fully recognize the value of our mission and have brought such kindness with every interaction. Please welcome Stephen and Sharon Bunkin.
Thank you. Wow, that's amazing. And this is such an incredible experience, and we're so personally connected to the festival and everything that it represents. And true to its mission, the films are really changing perceptions. And as a parent, I do feel like all these films are sharing our role models, and all the filmmakers are role models for our kids, which is really incredible. And we're grateful for that.
Yes, and we want to express our thanks to Isaac, Ravit, Barry, the rest of the team at ReelAbilities, and the JCC, and the volunteers who do such tremendous work to make this possible, and also recognize the individuals and organizations that sponsor this event. We're grateful for your support and hope to continue to build on it in the years to come for the next 15 years. Thank you.
Really, to create the groundbreaking accessibility that this festival offers, we need a lot of support and rely on your support. Those names were up there of many of our supporters, and please check them out online and check out all of our partners online as well. We have over 40 events this week in 5 boroughs and beyond. Every film is followed by a conversation. Over 100 speakers will be joining us this week from all around the world. And we couldn't have done this without the generous support of a wonderful partnership that has grown over the years with our conversation sponsor this year, Pfizer. Thank you so much to the folks from Pfizer. Now I'd like to thank those who really make this festival happen here on the ground at the JCC, our talented AV team, Jeff Fontaine, Matt Temkin, Sam Brunswick, Bennett Leeds, and Spencer Brigman, a growing team who work tirelessly and go above and beyond with some leadership from Hillel Hyman, I think is still here. The unbreakable, that song has been in my head, the unbreakable ReelAbilities team, many of whom who work with us year-round at the Carol Zabar Center for Film. Is Carol with us? She was supposed to be. And I'll start with, it's an amazing team, some who come on board just for the festival. Lauren Mariah Stern, our Film Department Associate Director. She's there in red. Juliet Kleitz, our Program Associate here in the back, who's Caroline Calandro, our File Manager, who has worked tirelessly to get all these films up here in multiple formats. Ryan Botita, our Program Administrator. Ryan's back there. Connor Roach, our guest coordinator. Brett Strainier, our partner coordinator. Julia Betancourt, our production assistant. Our PR and publicists. We had a great piece today in Hollywood Reporter and on CBS, and many more coming. ABC is covering Interdependence PR, and our very own in-house Lauren Alexander. Where's Lauren? I want to give a huge, huge thank you now to a person who we could not do this festival without her, Barry Lovey. Barry is our major gifts officer. She truly makes this happen, and she takes it on and wears it year-round. Melissa Regan, our Senior Director of Institutional Giving, has been with us for so many years and takes us to new levels every year. I want to thank you, Jessica Epstein and the design and marketing team that make this happen. Don't worry, the orchestra will start playing soon. They all do much more than just their titles. That's what's really important to say, and deserve all the credit for making this happen. I want to welcome back, after 5 years in exile, Ravit Turjaman, our interim director. She's also the director of ReelAbilities International and associate director of ReelAbilities New York. And I have to say, has a rare combination of not just talent, smarts, and commitment, but beyond all that, and most importantly, I'd say, has the heart of a lion, and that is the most important thing. So thank you, Ravit, and welcome back. I'm going to give a shout out to Yara Kedim, who was running ReelAbilities for the last 5 years and is with us tonight. And of course, to all of our volunteers who are here and make this happen and really support the festival. And a big special thank you to Michelle Faig, our volunteer chair. A big thank you to our advisory committee members who champion the festival and provide invaluable guidance to make this happen throughout the planning process, and our film selection committee. They're all listed in the program, but these are amazing people who bring this all together. Without them, our incredible lineup of films would not happen. These accessible films, you can applaud them, yes, yes. Half of them are here. That's why they're being modest. These accessible films will travel to over 20 cities and around the globe, as I mentioned, and will be in hundreds of corporations and educational institutions. We're even going to have some schools in here this week to enjoy the film, including Heschel, and my son's Heschel teachers are here, so wonderful. This year, we are proud to bring back, as mentioned, our industry summit, Disability, Inclusion, and Equity in Film and Performing Arts, in partnership with the mayor's offices, and I'm making it shorter. And I want to thank our consultant, Alexandria Wales, who helped us get that all together. I'm also excited to share, fabulous performer and advocate, I'm excited to share our comedy night is back at the Gotham Comedy Club. It's going to be funnier and more inclusive than ever. We have Pevar here with us tonight. Maysoon Zaid was supposed to be here, but I haven't seen her, so not sure if she is. And I want to give a big thank you to our comedy night chair, the very funny Lynn Bartner-Wiesel. Thank you, Lynn. Note her outfit, the orange pants and the black. It's consistent with the ReelAbilities design. Please join us this week for the week of programming, from arts to family programs, book events, even a beauty panel. Sean, spread the word, and you are the reason why we have this festival, and make it possible. And please, don't just come, bring friends. Tell as many as you can. And now we're up to tonight's film. We're there. Tonight's film, Unidentified Objects. We love films that are not necessarily completely about the disability, but rather are inclusive of disability in the fabric of the film. Tonight's film is a perfect example of that. Unidentified Objects fits into the road trip genre, which, as you know, is less about the geographical destination and more about the characters' inner journeys. Disability in the film helps nuance these characters and adds a level of complexity to the realities. I love a good New York indie, and that's what tonight's film is, and it's got a great edge. It's also an offbeat comedy, so don't be afraid to laugh. Unidentified Objects is most importantly about people and humanity and how we're all looking to belong. We're all looking for community and friendship, and there's no better place to do that than right here. So thank you so much for being here for this film. Thank you so much to the filmmakers. Our filmmakers are with us tonight and are helping us break taboos in Hollywood with depiction of disability. And if you want to tell your friends, it's not only all of our programs are available virtually this year, but this film will also be screening at the Museum of Moving Image this weekend, and it will be released in theaters in June. If this is a hit in theaters, more movies like this will come out. Please tell your friends, but after the festival. After the screening, stay tuned, stay seated for a conversation. Yes, there's more. With the actors, we have here Sarah Hay. Where's Sarah? Sarah's back there hiding. Matthew Jeffers, the great Matthew Jeffers, who you're going to get to know, both of them very intimately in this film, director Juan Felipe Zuleta, and they're going to be in conversation with really, I'm going to trip up on the description because there's nobody more important to us in terms of really establishing the vision of this film. And if you don't like tonight's film, blame him. He leads a program in Turner Classic Movies, also co-director now of DisArt, a disability-centered production company. It is Lawrence Carter Long. Thank you for being here. Thank you again to our conversation sponsors, Pfizer. After the Q&A, you will be rewarded with a reception upstairs, thanks to Chef's Kitchen. I want to thank our beer sponsor. There's non-alcoholic beer, too. It's Industrial Arts Brewing, a New York brewery, so please check that out. I want to thank everybody who has donated for the gift bags, which will be available also after the show. We wanted to give you some more leg room there. And I'm giving a special thanks to John's Crazy Socks. I'm wearing my John's Crazy Socks. There are ReelAbilities socks. That's how you know you've made it after 15 years. When you get a pair of socks, every time you put on your socks, you're going to think about ReelAbilities. And if it's not the ReelAbilities socks, still think about us. Please silence your cell phones. Please mask for the safety of our community. And we will see you right after the screening. Thank you very much. Please welcome. I'm going to start with the director, Juan Felipe Zuleta. Where's Juan? Welcome. Amazing job. And now, two people who really need no introduction. Please welcome Sarah Hay and Matthew Jeffers. Sarah and Matthew.
No flowers?
But more importantly, do you have a microphone?
Hello, New York. Hello, ReelAbilities. Hi, fabulous people. Let's give it up one more time for the film, shall we? So I got to tell you, Yitzi mentioned in my introduction that I've done some programming a time or two for Turner Classic Movies, and I'm a bit of a film nerd. And I got to tell you, when they sent this to me, I thought, well, I've seen every road trip movie ever made. Yeah. Oh, okay. Dramatic pause. Yeah, sorry for this, folks.
Thank you for your patience.
Just think of all those questions you have. Put them in your mind now. We'll continue? Okay, we're going to continue. Hopefully that captioning will come up soon. I'll try to talk slowly. My name is Lawrence Carter Long. I'm a middle-aged, skinny white dude who saunters with cerebral palsy. Don't suffer with cerebral palsy, saunters with cerebral palsy. Just make that distinction. Our esteemed panelists here, thank you so much for your work. It's fantastic. I was just saying, I thought when Yitzi sent this to me, I've seen road movies. I've seen Smokey and the Bandit and Midnight Run and Rain Man and Little Miss Sunshine. I thought I knew what was coming, right? Look, I don't think I've ever been happier to be wrong. It's a remarkable achievement, so thank you all for this film. What do you have here? You've got bickering lesbian cosplayers. You got extraterrestrial cops, you got a platonic love story, right? And people who are trying to find their way either in this world or perhaps another one. I wanted to start, Juan, by asking you about the origin of this film, how it got started, what you were taking when you wrote the screenplay, and how I can get some.
So one thing, thank you so much for the praise. The screenplay was developed with me and my writing partner, Leland. I give him actually a lot of the credit on the script. I was definitely very involved in the writing, and we developed it together. But Leland is a genius. He has a very warm and kind heart. And I think what brought us together to write this screenplay was, I think it all started when COVID hit. And we found ourselves unemployed. We found ourselves with a lot of ideas, but not a lot of opportunities. And a lot of those ideas come from our heart. We care about stories about outsiders. Thematically, that's something that we really deeply care about, and is the thing that has united us as storytellers. And a lot of those ideas really, I wish I could tell you just, we had a lot of it written from before, but I think it was just the circumstances that we found ourselves when the world stopped, and it almost felt that the universe was telling us to tell this story, and we were just a medium to bring it to life, and it actually came to us. I had a sketch of a little person character, specifically.
You knew you wanted to write about a character who was a little person.
Yes, that's something we had from before. That's the only element, and it was mainly really because from film school, studying films and realizing that diversity, like you realize as a Hispanic filmmaker, you realize the way characters are stereotyped in films. There's all sorts of minority stereotypes, but when it comes to the disability community, and specifically the little people, I realized most, like 99% of little people characters were not even human beings on movies.
Right.
They were
time bandits, Ewoks.
There's exceptions. You can, yeah, exactly. There's very few exceptions, but they are mostly exactly like they were treated subhuman, and it really shocked me. It really shocked me, and it really like moved me, and I was like, and I had that sketch, and when COVID hit, I pitched the idea to Leland, and then we found our heart. And that's how we started writing it. That's how we started. And Matthew was the first person we brought on the process. He's obviously as an actor, but also gave us a lot of permission, a lot of information. He's also a producer in our project. And for that, for us, that was very important that he could also guide us as we develop the story. Because obviously it's not only about a little person, but there's an experience that I don't have that I need to respect.
And you're an immigrant yourself, right, from Colombia?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how did that inform the outsidership and sort of the genesis of the story?
So I feel our movie, we talk about our movie as a movie of characters who live in liminal spaces that don't have a place in the world, that are not nor here nor there. And that's also why there's a border crossing in the movie. Because that border of where you draw the line, where you are, where you belong, it's at the heart of the theme of the story. So my experience as an immigrant, even like my English is much better now, but when I arrived to the U.S. 11 years ago, it was way worse, and it wasn't as it was. So it's kind of like you all of a sudden you feel like you have a disadvantage, and you have to make up for it somehow. So I feel that's kind of how I started relating to that outsider experience as a storyteller, just pitching a movie to American producers or things like that. It's just not the same, because so it kind of like that's how I went in, and I think I developed an empathy and a sensibility for people who lived who in the fringes, and I tried to understand and hear them out more than what I would have ever done if I had just stayed in Colombia.
And as an outsider, right, and it's sort of one of the themes of the film, you have to work harder, right, because you're trying to fit in, and that can get exhausting. Since Juan mentioned that you were the first person sort of on board with the film, I wanted to come to you, Matthew. Very relatable, yet defying those expectations, right? This character is not a garden gnome, not an Ewok, right? A real person, flesh and blood, 3D, right? And I wanted, you mentioned that you were more than an actor, that you came on board as a producer and as an actor, of course, and sort of consulting. I know you've done a lot of work around representation. Why is it important to you that writers, producers, directors include disabled people in the conception and of the story, and really work to get those details right, those lived experiences right? Why is that important to you?
Thank you. Representation matters. I believe a quarter of the population identifies as having some sort of disability, and yet we really only see roughly 5% of the characters on screen being portrayed as people with disabilities. So the first thing that I would offer is it's proven that as audience members, they are more likely to engage with a show for longer if they identify with someone that they see on screen. If they see a character on screen that mirrors them in some way, that they feel seen, it's more likely that they'll remain engaged with the show. So from a commercial standpoint, you know, the industry, as if they don't have enough money, they stand to make billions and billions of dollars more by bringing authentic stories to life, because there is an entire community, of which we are, that has so many beautiful stories to share that the general population is incredibly interested and totally in the driver's seat to become engaged with and become fans of. And from a personal angle, I studied acting at Towson University. I'm from Baltimore, and I was a homebody, so I never wanted to go far away from home, and so I went 15 minutes down the road, and I studied acting there. And it was just it happened to be at the time when Peter Dinklage was experiencing this meteoric rise in Game of Thrones. And so I would go to acting class in the morning, and I would come home, and I would sit on my sofa, and I would turn on Game of Thrones, and suddenly I had this roadmap laid out before me where I could see that, okay, if I take what I learned in acting class and I moved to New York and I tried very hard, I didn't know if it would happen. But I knew that it could happen because I got to see the extraordinary work of Peter Dinklage in Game of Thrones.
So because somebody else did it, right? You looked up there on the screen, you flipped on HBO,
Yeah.
and you could see it, you thought, whoa, maybe I could do that too.
Look,
that's a possibility.
Seeing is believing, period. You know, there's a reason why seeing videos hold so much power. Seeing is believing, and it allowed me to believe. I wrote my senior thesis on Peter Dinklage. I mean, I was profoundly inspired by his work, and kind of to allude what you said in the beginning of creating a three-dimensional character that isn't the garden gnome or the elf, or you know, the caricatures. This guy was incredibly flawed, right? And yet you rooted for him, right? He was this kind of bastard child who was this kind of sex addict and drank too much, but had a real beating heart. And Peter, he made you fall in love with him, and I fell in love with him. And and you know, he was top billing on you know, arguably one of the greatest shows in the history of television. So
Sex symbol, they're murals, right?
yes,
Side of buildings. Yeah.
100%. So so yeah, the industry. Bertolt Brecht is a very famous playwright who said that art is not a mirror held up to reality, but a hammer with which to shape it. And it is that hammer that the industry wields. The industry wields incredible power to change lives in profound ways. And I think the industry is on the precipice in the past few years of bringing to life these marginalized communities, people on the fringes. Coda, right? Great example of making history, and you know, watching that has changed lives, right? Troy, you've changed lives, and so. But you were given the opportunity, right? You didn't write Coda, you brought Coda to life and gave it a beating heart. And so it's a team effort, right? I'm not talented the way Leland is or the way Juan Fe is. I can't write unidentified objects, but I can help on my end to bring that character to life. So that's why I love the industry so much, is because coming from a sports background, it is the team. There is no I in this industry, and the most beautiful and powerful work comes from really fucking talented people coming together and making art, and it cannot be done alone.
Right, and you. Hallelujah, amen, and some other superlative that I. Oh, I want to ask also, how many F-bombs did you drop in the film?
Well, I just added another one, so I don't know.
We'll have an M&M jar in the lobby.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Just to clarify, I was brought on as a producer at the end. At the end. When I signed on, it was strictly to be.
But did you help inform?
Yes.
Sort of the character, right? The details. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because if you get them wrong, right? I sort of move my legs when I sit into a chair, and if a character is portraying somebody with cerebral palsy and they don't do those little things, although CP has all these variations, I spot it. And I go, too much muscle tone on that one. You can see when somebody's faking it, right? And so I appreciate that. Sarah, so great work. I got to tell you, normally abductions are depicted as something traumatic, right? Yeah. But Winona, she can't wait to get back, right? She says at some point she doesn't have to live in this world, and it's pretty clear that she doesn't want to. I wanted to talk a little bit about your process in embodying that character, right? We've talked about perceptions of disabled folks and how sometimes those are skewed. Women in our society are clearly objectified, right? What clay did you use, right? What did you work with in sort of creating this character and the 3 dimensions that she has?
It's actually interesting that you say 3 dimensions, because when we were developing this character, we came up with 3 different versions of her throughout the film. And there was like a responsible grown-up version, a child-like version, and then what was the 3rd one?
Like a really, really old version. Like a 90-something-year-old version.
An older person.
Wise or worn out?
What?
A wise old person or a worn out old person?
Yeah, just someone who has been through
lived a lot.
So much.
Someone who has a lot of life experience.
Lot of life experience, okay.
And my personal connection to it is that I spent the first 26 years of my life working towards being a professional ballet dancer. And when I was in school and growing up, I had pretty severe ADHD, but when I would get into a dance studio, I was like free and felt amazing. And what I learned through that experience of 25 years of ballet was that I never really wanted to do it. I was sort of taught that I wasn't good at school. And so I was living this secondary life where everyone was looking at me like I was this magical princess and everyone was telling me I was so amazing, but I was really living in someone else's experience, because when I stopped dancing and I tried acting, I felt for the first time like I actually was myself. And my family was super supportive of me dancing, and they saw this little girl who was so talented, so they kept pushing me towards that direction and pulling me away from education because they didn't want me to fail. So her journey of trying to escape something and this feeling of being lost and not accepted and on this kind of sad path that she's living was very relatable, even though from the outside it kind of looks like she's fine and has everything, and I felt the same way. So it was easy to relate to her in that way.
And sort of turn that into the art, right? Because there's a lot of pressure there. And just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's necessarily what you enjoy or what you want to do or what you're meant to do.
Or if you think you have to be some way or do something, to prove to everybody that you're amazing or that you're capable of great feats, it doesn't mean that that's really the journey for you.
Yeah, and so what are your hopes for this film? You've been touring around doing the festival circuit. What do you want to see?
An Oscar for Matthew? He's so good. I don't have formal training, and watching him and his process made me a better actor. And also, I did a lot of really amazing projects before this, and I feel very lucky that I've gotten to have a chance to perform. But all of them had big budgets, and all of them had snazzy people in them, and after doing this project, I don't want to do any of that anymore. I want to do independent film with new creatives who are making movies that matter and not just garbage for people to veg out to.
So, more weirdness, more uniqueness in the world.
More weirdness, the better. But my hopes for the movie is that we get a big enough audience that it can spark a career opportunity for more people, especially, new directors, young directors. You had just graduated NYU when I met you, and you were making this movie, and I just took a chance. My manager took the submission, and he spelled my name wrong because his first language isn't English, and my manager said, maybe not this one. And then I looked at the deck, and I was completely blown away by the visuals. It's like, why not give opportunity to new creatives and not shut them out just because you're some fancy agency or management company? I just want more opportunity for people like us.
Fantastic. I got to give you props, by the way. Before I turn it over to the audience, I got to give you props for the little details. The pink Jeep, the phone booth in the middle of nowhere, the slug crossing the road, the
that
best
was an accident.
that was a happy accident. The best use of Roy Orbison since Blue Velvet, I think. And even ELO, just great choices there all the way around. Audience, we've got some time left. How about you? Who wants to go first?
We're going to pass the microphone.
Yeah,
I also want to
roving
give quick credit to Masha Leonov, who is the producer of the film, who's here with us.
Oh, woohoo! Thank you, Masha. None of these would happen without producers, so thank you, Masha.
They keep the wheels going. They keep the gas in the engine.
One of the brilliant things of this film is how there are moments in the close-ups of stillness, and you see what the characters, and you can connect to the characters very much one-on-one as an audience with the close-ups that you did. When you storyboarded this one, did you have those close-ups as part of the original, or was it once you saw how amazing Matthew and Sarah were that you knew that that was an avenue you could utilize more because of the performances they were giving? Because there are so many times when things could have been over-explained or been said in dialogue, and instead it was a close-up on one of you going through what you were going through as a character with no explanation, and yet we understood and heard very loudly when no words were being spoken. So I was wondering if that was something you had planned beforehand, or just because you guys were so incredible, that was something you added.
So I think that's a great question, by the way. I don't think I've been in festivals for the past year, and I've never gotten that question. I think it's both. We prepared, we shot the movie, most of the movie handheld, and we planned to be able to get really close to the actors. So we made a lot of planning around the lenses and the camera work so that we could be intimate inside a car and we could feel like we were there with them. That being said, the magic about making movies is that you have to be present. You have to absolutely be present, and you have to absorb and connect and create an energy and an environment where you're open for surprises. And I knew I think a movie is 80% casting, 90% casting. Having a good cast, you can really shape a good movie, even if you have an okay script. Obviously, if you have a great script, it's even better. But cast is massively important. So I felt confident with them going into the field that I had good actors. But absolutely, it wasn't until we were filming and I could see their chemistry and start seeing that I couldn't stop rolling. Like I really felt even the moments of silence, sometimes we would just shoot those moments. Even in the goodbye scene when Matthew is playing Peter at the beach and he's saying bye to his friend, to Shay, and just basically remembering her. He had a monologue in that scene, and we shot the monologue. But then I picked him up and I told him, just sit down there and think about Shay. And I filmed him like just looking at the ocean and remembering somebody he loved and he misses. And I think that's a powerful thing about cinema, is that sometimes you can tell more with just an image than with a monologue. And I feel I kind of knew that in theory, but not until you're present and you make yourself available for that. And then in the editing room, you really push and really understand and really study the footage that you have, that you build it. So I think crafting a movie, nobody knows anything. You have to be present and you have to try everything, and their energy, their looks, their performances, their truth. They were very honest when they were playing those characters. That's what allowed us to feel that.
Excellent. Here in front.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I mean, it's so interesting what you said. Really helped me, Lawrence, with, because I'm looking at this film and you think the protagonist has every reason to go to another planet, right? With everything, his reality is not pretty, it's not glossy, it's not extraterrestrial in any way. And I remember thinking as this was happening, when you're offering, come with me, and the fact that you didn't think about it, you didn't, your character was pretty set on staying human, staying in his reality, and I thought that was such an interesting choice, but knowing this intention of embracing the humanity and being able to be messy and imperfect and still choose your life, I think is really powerful. So I just wanted to say thank you just a really vulnerable performance. I think that gets us all thinking about what it means to be an insider, but still in our own lives and still choosing, no matter how difficult our reality may be, still choosing to live that life. So anyway, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the things that this movie shows is there's a certain liberation that can come with embracing that outsidership. When you stop playing by their rules and start listening to your own heartbeat, right? And the things that make you tick, your own juice, then things can start to shift. That energy can start to go in a different direction. I read in one of the interviews in preparing for this, I think, Juan, you said that the character you play, Matthew Peter, is a lighthouse. And, you know, brightest, most beautiful lighthouse in the world, right? But located, but has no electricity. And I think so what good is a lighthouse without electricity? And I think what this movie shows beautifully is that we can all be the electricity and the juice for each other. And we can help each other shine. And I think this movie does that beautifully. So thank you once again, everybody, for all your work.
Thank you. Matthew, you have a tattoo of a lighthouse. You have a tattoo of a lighthouse.
Yeah, on our first day, it was Zoom. We shot in August 2020. It was Zoom, and on our first day, we came up with that analogy. And after wrapping, I got a tattoo of a lighthouse on my thigh, with cotton candy blues and yellows and pinks.
That's commitment. Folks, first of all, our friend Simi Linton had mentioned that this is the hottest party in New York. Come celebrate with us upstairs in the lobby a little longer. We're here all week, so please join us, and please tell your friends. Give it up for these amazing filmmakers and for Lawrence Carter-Long. And help us spread the word. We're here all week and would love you to join us for more. Thank you all so much.
Yes, theatrical release in June. Correct?
Yes.
June 2nd, right?
Yes, our movie is gonna be on streaming platforms on June 9th, and it's gonna have a limited theatrical release first week of June. If you like it, please spread the word. Word of mouth is our best ally for small indie films. So I do the shameless plug. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Don't forget to grab a gift bag, too, on your way out. Thank you.